Welcome to Science Stories with Mrs. C. Today, I'll be reading a book titled Saving Water. Before we begin reading, let's look at some vocabulary words that you'll hear in today's story. Saving water. These 6 words will help you better understand the information that you're learning as I read. The first word is 2/3. Next, we have valuable, cycle, reservoir, faucet, and pollute. Let's look at the definitions of these 6 words with some images to help us better understand. 2/3 is a fraction. It's an amount that is 2 out of 3 equal parts. So if I divide a circle into 3 parts and I shade in 2, this is representing the fraction 2/3. You could do it with different parts of a group if you have a group of 3. You could do it with a fraction bar, or you could even show it on a number line. Here's 0 and here's the whole number 1. 2/3 would be if I divided that one number into 3 parts and then I shaded in 2 of those 3 parts. When you hear 2/3 in today's story, it's going to be talking about your body. It's going to talk about how our bodies are made up of water. 2/3 of our body. That's a lot. Our next word is valuable. If something is valuable, it means it has great worth, or it's worth a great deal of money. A lot of times when we think of valuable objects, we might think of something like a mineral, like a gemstone, right? But we have natural resources that are worth a lot because we need them to survive. Things like water, forests, soils. There's minerals too, right? Talking about those gemstones and things. So lots of resources are valuable to us because not only are they worth a lot of money, but we also need them to survive. Our next word is cycle. A cycle is a series of events that are regularly repeated in the same order. We have so many cycles. We have earth cycles, like the seasons, right? It follows the same order and it repeats itself. We have life cycles. All animals have a life cycle. And we even have things like the rock cycle. We've talked about the rock cycle in another book that I read. Today, we're going to be talking about the water cycle. Our next word is reservoir. A reservoir is an artificial lake where water is stored. A lot of times we'll store that water by building a dam, either across a river or to block off an outlet to a lake. That way we can control the amount. We can control how much leaves, how much stays in. So that's where we store water. Faucet. Faucet is a device by which a flow of liquid or gas from a pipe or container can be controlled. So a lot of times when we think of faucets, we might think of the kitchen faucet, right? It's controlling that flow of water. Or we might think of our bathroom faucet, right? On our sink or our bathtub. Again, it's controlling the flow of water. You can control how much cold water you use, how much hot water you use. You can turn it off completely and stop the flow. So that's what a faucet is, a device that controls the flow of liquid or sometimes gas too. And our last word is pollute. Pollute means to contaminate an environment, especially with man-made waste. So that means when we are dumping things like trash and chemicals, we sometimes those end up in our lakes and our rivers, right? It's contaminating it. It's making it poisonous. It's making it dirty. And also we have a lot of air pollution too, right? From different factories burning different chemicals and things. So a lot of times it's man-made waste. That's waste that people have created and that we are dumping in different places or putting out in the environment. It's not really good. All right, so you're going to hear all 6 of those words while I read today, and hopefully now you'll understand what each of them means a bit better. All right, so here is our book again. This is the front cover. We've got our title, Saving Water, and we've got our author, Neil Morris. He wrote the words and gathered the facts and details in this book. Water everywhere. Water is all around us. It covers nearly 3/4 of our planet. The world's oceans, lakes, and rivers are full of water. A lot of it is salty, which means we cannot drink it. So 3/4, that's another fraction. That's how much of Earth is covered. And then look, did you know Water is inside every one of us as well as around us. Two-thirds of our body is made of water, including the brain, muscles, skin, and blood. All living things need water to live. We must drink lots of fresh water every day to stay healthy, so that fresh water does not have salt in it. Water is very valuable to us. It is important to use it wisely and save as much as we can. Where does water come from? Water comes from rain and it moves in a never-ending cycle. The water cycle is the journey water takes when it leaves the Earth's surface, goes into the sky, and then returns to the Earth's surface. Fresh water is pumped to our homes, schools, offices, and stores through large underground pipes. We just have to turn on the faucet to get water. So there's a lot of little details that I'm not going to read today for our story time just to save time. But if you check this book out at your local library, there's a lot of extra information and true facts you can learn as well. Drinking water. Some people get water from springs and wells. Drinking water comes from reservoirs. To make it safe to drink, the water is cleaned at a treatment works. Some people buy sparkling or still water in bottles. If clean water is available from a faucet, then bottled water is a waste of energy. This is because it takes extra energy to make the bottles, fill, label, and transport them to stores. So bottled water is not really necessary if you have a clean water source already that you can drink from. All sorts of uses. Water is also used for washing, cooking, cleaning clothes, and flushing the toilet. This adds up to an enormous, that means really big, right? An enormous amount of water. So we should only use as much as we need. Some people use huge amounts of water without thinking. A garden sprinkler, for example, can use 160 gallons of water in an hour. So a jug of milk, that's 1 gallon. So they're using 160 of those. That is also the same as a bath full of water every 8 minutes. So it's like filling a bathtub and dumping it over and over again. Turn off the faucet. Lots of clean water is wasted down the plug hole of the bathroom or kitchen sink. The water flows through the drains into large underground pipes called sewers. There is an easy way to save water. When you are washing things, do not let the water run any longer than it has to. Use just the water you need and then turn off the faucet. You can do it. Just for once, leave the cold faucet running when you brush your teeth. If you leave the plug in, you can see how much water you've wasted and you'll be amazed. So don't do it every time. It's saying do it one time with the hole plugged so you can see how much is wasted when you leave it on without plugging it. Really, you shouldn't leave it on at all, right? Drip, drip, drip. Water is also wasted if faucets do not work properly. A dripping faucet might seem unimportant, but it could waste more than 50 pints of water a day. Many modern washing machines and dishwashers use less water than older models. They also save energy. We can save even more by only running them when they are full. So instead of doing a little load of clothes or a little load of dishes, you can wait until you have a full load. Collecting and recycling. We can reuse water on plants in the garden. The wastewater left after washing vegetables or water from showers, kitchen sinks, and washing machines is called gray water. It is not drinkable, so it's not safe for us, but it can be reused. Rainwater can also be collected and used to water plants. The easiest way is to use a barrel called a water butt. It gathers water from a drain pipe. So you can see that really tall one there. And there's a little tiny container you could use too. Dirty water. Some farmers spray chemicals on their crops to help them grow and to protect them from pests. These chemicals can pollute underground water and nearby water sources, such as rivers. Did you know more than 1 billion people in the world live without clean water? That's the same as 1 out of every 6 people. So drinking water that's clean is really important and really valuable. Not everyone even has it. Factories produce chemicals that can pollute rivers. Waste gases from cars and factories are also a problem. They mix with water and clouds to make acid rain. When acid rain falls, it can pollute lakes, kill trees, and harm wildlife. So it's the opposite of that nice, clean, fresh rain, right? It's tainted, it's contaminated with chemicals. Around the world. In rich countries of the world, most people use about 50 gallons of clean water each day. In poorer regions, water is much more precious. People only have 13 pints each. In parts of Africa, there is often very little rainfall. This can cause a drought and the ground dries up. People get clean drinking water from a well. Dirty drinking water can make people get very ill or very sick. That's the end. There's the glossary with a lot of those definitions that we looked at as well. So, like I said, I didn't get to read every single fact. There were a lot of little ones in this book, but if you want to check it out from your local library, it's called Saving Water. The author is Neil Morris, and there's even more information, real facts and true information that you can learn in this book. I hope that you feel like you enjoyed this story and that you learned some new information and some new ways to save water. I will see you next time. Thanks so much for listening. Goodbye.